The first part of the contemplative experience that we want to explore is the gaze of meditation. This is about understanding God and allowing God's understanding of us to shape how we see ourselves. It's the lover's mutual gaze that is trying to explore, to know and be known, to see and be seen. And the first part of that, understanding God, is probably the part of contemplation and meditation that we are most comfortable with as evangelicals. It is figuring out who God is. It is wrestling through the scriptures to understand him and to understand what he's done. This is Psalm 77 verse 12 territory of, I will consider all your works and meditate on all your mighty deeds. And it's exploring the scriptures that we get a vision of just how majestic and beautiful and amazing our God is, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But the part that we're probably less familiar with is allowing his gaze to penetrate deep into our soul, that we understand ourselves better. Augustine is one of the great doctors of the soul. And when he was writing his Confessions, he said, I have become a great puzzle to myself. I asked my soul why she was so sad and why she was so exceedingly disquiet, but she knew not what to answer me. And if I said to her, put your hope in God, she would not obey me. That Augustine, the one who understands human nature so well, is saying he's become a mystery to himself. He doesn't understand why he operates the way that he does. Blaise Pascal, he was a French theologian and mathematician. I don't know what's not to love there. He had this great phrase where he said, I have discovered that all the unhappiness of men arises from their inability to sit quietly in their own room. Now, as you hear that, you're like, what's he talking about? And he's saying people find it really hard to sit alone with themselves. And he says that we love the chase much more than the catch. And he says that for two reasons. He says there is an ancient instinct within us that longs for rest, that longs to be at peace. And it's an old instinct that drives us on, this search for peace, this search for rest for our souls. But what he also says is we have learned a new instinct, that actually if we get the opportunity to rest, the noise and the pain in here is overwhelming. And so we keep busy, we keep distracted, we keep active, we keep driving forward. And there's the old instinct that still longs for rest, and we tell ourselves when we get past the next thing we will rest, but actually we are unable to sit alone with ourselves in our room because the pain and the torment in here, the voice and the noises in here are unbearable, so we keep busy. And Augustine talks about this secret place inside. It's the place of conscience and memory, where the purposes of a person's heart are at work, where the deep recesses of the soul and the internal dialogue and the internal voice and the discussions happen. And they often happen in the shadows of our soul, or hidden and often unspoken. And Augustine wants God's gaze to penetrate into the depths of our heart, in our soul, and the inner person, that we learn to see ourselves as God sees us. These ancients of the past tied knowledge of God and knowledge of self together. And if that's true, and I'm convinced it is, we live in a culture where generations ago we got rid of the idea of God. Now, if knowledge of God and knowledge of self are unbreakably tied together, in a culture that rejects the idea of God, what would you expect to come downstream years later? Well, if you've got rid of God, at some point you will lose all sense of self. And we're living in a culture now that is in a crisis about who we are. If I said to a young man 100 years ago, "Who are you?" he'd think I'm asking him what his name is. If I met a 19-year-old lad today and I said, "Who are you?" that would be a deep existential question that his first-year psychology course at university just could not answer for him. Who am I? And so our culture at the minute is turning to all sorts of places to figure out that question. Who am I? And they're turning to therapists and counselors, anyone who will help them make sense of who they are. But that is becoming true in our church culture as well, that actually people are looking outside the church for help. And what I want us to recover is this contemplative experience, this meditation, this lover's mutual gaze that understands each other. And as we understand who God is and explore the depths of our triune God, we also allow his gaze to penetrate deep into our soul, that we start to understand ourselves through his eyes.